Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner Classics. It's episode number 2081, Doubleshot 1975. This one got two X-Men trades. First up is the Revive series of X-Men Red. Yeah, this actually was one of like three series that revived for the Krakatoa Initiative. And unlike the other two, which I think was X-Factor, got canceled at 10 issues, S.W.O.R.D got canceled after 11 issues. This is another one. Now, of course, the next book I'm talking about, that was no book they revived. And they ended it with the end of 2021. This book they brought back just like last year. This is basically X-Men Red by Ewing, Volume 1. This is sort of a replacement book for S.W.O.R.D. That's pretty much the main gist of this. Now, X-Men Red, the lineup for this book is quite interesting. Now, I've heard one person describe basically Storm as leading a cult. Reading this book, it's not a freaking cult. She's the regent of Mars. Yes, they tend to think that she's the leader of a cult. They think the X-Men are plant people. And I'm like, no, they're not. They basically are clone bodies. Thinks, the X-Men are all dead. No, they're not. Completely different opinions. This is why I disagree when it comes to this one. Now, this book is mostly, the lamp of this book is mostly Storm, Magneto, Vulcan, which Al Ewing does remember the fact that he's actually an emperor. Well, he was the emperor of the Sheer Empire. We also have Sunspot here, who has a bar on Mars. Yes, he has a bar on there. Now, of course, it stems from some stuff in the opening story of Gary Duggan's run for X-Men. They represent here. Now, Magneto, I believe he came to this book right after, like, the opening issue of Immortal X-Men, which they just started I think it was in 2021. I think it was started 2022. They started that book as written by Kieran Gillen. This is basically what he did afterwards. He's basically joined Storm's version of the Krakatoa Quiet Council, where she is the ruler. Black Panther stuff occasionally appears in this book. As a matter of fact, they reference stuff in Black Panther, the more recent run for the book by John Riley, which is going to be ending really soon. Yes. As for the reason why at 15 issues, is probably by far the shortest Black Panther run I've ever seen in years, because basically the last time I had a run that was this short was probably the guy who replaced Reginald Holland on I believe it was volume, I'm trying to remember correctly, I think it was volume 5 Black Panther, and that was like 12 issues, because he left, like, at the end of the book on and off since like 06. Now, of course, he's the one who in book started the romance between Storm and Black Panther. It's brought up in here. Now, a lot of stuff going on here is basically Vulcan, where he's basically missing his old friends from the missing X-Men team that were sent to Krakatoa, the original Krakatoa, not the current one, where Petra and like one other person who were actually briefly featured in a few issues by Jonathan Hickman from X-Men, and they'll appear here. It's implied they might be still dead. Also, the fact that he should be given some little more legality because he was the Emperor, which contradicts what happens what Jonathan Hickman did, where he doesn't like remind he was an emperor, and here he basically just reminds people that he was an emperor. Yeah, very inconsistent already. Also, apparently, he has been banished from Summer's house. Which, you're probably thinking, why the heck would Vulcan be banished from Summer's house? Honestly, I don't have any idea. They do bring up about, like, oh yeah, he left a scar on space. That part is true, because that basically happened over a decade ago. That happened back in 2010. The Roman King storyline, which I think it was the Roman Kings, which was the aftermath of War of Kings, which led into a mini-series known as Thanos Imperative. I'm glad the fact Al Ewing referenced that. Now, S.W.O.R.D is in here, and of course, Bishop is leading a team X-Men. Now, this team X-Men, and of course, Vulcan obviously points out, though, why in the world am I being bossed out by my own nephew? Because Cable is his nephew. That part is true. Now, here's the thing about Vulcan and Cable. These two part of this book have never met each other before. Never. Never at all. The entire time Vulcan's been around. Vulcan's been around since 2006. And he was active heavily as Marvel Comics for 5 years before he died. And he got brought back, like, roughly about actually now, I think he brought back about 4 years ago, he brought back. Yeah, he got resurrected. Somehow, despite the fact he blew up in freaking space. Yes. And here, he's working with another uncle of his. He's working with his nephew. Which, here's the thing. Scott has interacted with him. Havoc has interacted with Cable. Vulcan has never interacted with his nephew before. Nope, never. As for why in the world they decided to do this, I have no idea. S.W.O.R.D kind of formed their own version of X-Men, which is called X-Men Red. Which, of course, we also heard seen by John Proudstar. Yes, John Proudstar. Who gets to fight with, of course, Vulcan. Now, here's the fun fact about John Proudstar. He was from the very team that came after Vulcan's team. Yes. And here's a fun fact for you. These two never met before. Nope. It's like, wow, thank you, Ewing, for having characters you never interacted with each other before. Then you have John Proudstar meeting Cable, another character he never met before. Like, wow, that's interesting. And by the way, he knocks out his own uncle. He picks up his unconscious uncle. Yes, seriously. He picks up his unconscious uncle. Of course, also, Storm was having some mental issues in here. Not basically the point of going crazy. And then for some reason, you have Storm going to her classic mohawk look for some reason. She's suffering, I'm not sure why she's having mental issues. And we have this real mental plane. And Petra and Sway. And of course we have... Oh, let's have Emma Frost give Vulcan a margarita. I'm like, why? So basically his team is made up of Metallo, Frenzy, Random, Mindfold, and this Cable. Felix Cable. And Vulcan's like, failure, so I'm taking orders from my nephew? I was leader of Empire's brand, and I led from the front. Wonderful, a team player. It's bad. It's not if you pull me off diplomatic work for this circus brand. This is diplomatic work, Frenzy. Critical relations. The Acro need to know there's a S.W.O.R.D team. Watch over them. Why is that? Excuse me. I'm with Frenzy. How is this our remit? Africa's got its own culture, its own government. They want their own X-Men team. They can do it. It's their plan, isn't it? The parts we allow them are theirs. The rest is the diplomatic zone. Mars has left social system. And he's like, I quit. Yep, he quits. He's going back to Avenger. That's my fault. And then he asks, like, oh, just like that? Just drastic? You were practically my second command. Was I? What happened to Henry Gymrick, Abby? I told you. Gymrick's out on airlock. Couldn't save him. I couldn't save him. I could have. You could barely move, as I recall. Oh, yeah. It just like caused space station next, and just next, and after it fell on my home after one of your plans. A nice, convenient accident. You know, Abby. Fool me once. Okay, was like, and we have Abby's like, and then Mindfold just leaves. Yeah, he just leaves. So yeah, we have a very random lineup of X-Men. Where the only familiar X-Men we have here are just, well, just Cable and Vulcan. And they basically do, they fight some alien threats. Magneto occasionally in this book, but he's not really a big threat. They have Storm fighting a Vulcan. So despite the fact the book is called X-Men, you can think, oh, it's focused on Storm? A lot of things, they seem like it's focused on Vulcan himself for reasons. Yes. So they also found out here, thanks to Guardians of the Galaxy, which, by the way, the book is not published anymore. Here's the thing. No Guardians of the Galaxy book, and yet the Guardians of the Galaxy is still active in the Marvel Universe, and Nova is part of the group. So he mentions that he apparently uses the power of the world mind to revive Xandar. Not sure why he did it for, but he did. He also mentions that Xavier's daughter is dead. And as soon as Xavier finds out about this, he's like, give me the 5 right now. We're going to revive her right this minute. And they revive her. Despite the fact that people were against it. Because the fact she's a daughter of mutant, basically, I guess because she's Charles Xavier's daughter, which makes her technically Legion's half sister. So they basically plan to revive her with the Five. Does she revive these issues? Not really. It seems at first our focus on Kale and Magneto, which these two have interacted a little bit in the past, not much. Yeah. And well, then we have Magneto coming this, absorbing this ability, and then we have our Magneto begins the next trade. Gotta admit, this actually is a very good start for this particular run. Yes. 9.5 out of 10. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Now, it's not a cult. It's an actual government. A recognized government recognized by the United Nations. I don't know why someone I know calls it a cult. It makes no freaking sense at all. Alright, next up we have is Excalibur. This actually was one of those other titles I revived. This, of course, is the penultimate trade to collect issues for Excalibur because the very next trade is the end of the series. Well, the end of this volume anyways. Let's collect issues 16 and 21 of Excalibur volume, I believe this is volume 4. Yes, volume 4. Where mostly put, yeah, we do see Rogue, for some reason, back in her 90s garb for some reason. Yeah, for this book, I have no idea why in the world. We also have apparent death of Betsy Braddock, which doesn't really go anywhere at all. Now, also, apparently, in these issues revealed that the former Captain Brian Braddock is now Captain Avalon because he lost his job as Captain Britain due to grabbing the wrong object. Yeah, that's the reason why he's no longer Captain Britain now, because he grabbed the wrong object. And now his sister, his beautiful sister, is now, well, Captain Britain. And the select identity went to Kanan. And then we apparently have Betsy revived, and she's visited by her ex-boyfriend Warren, aka Angel. We have all people Pete Wisdom here. Yes, Pete Wisdom is here. Yeah, and then we have Kanan appearing in this book just for reasons. Bunch of our psychic attacks. I mean, this book is slowly wrapping up, but it does give a launch briefly as another series, Knights of X, but that was simply it. Yeah. And, well, not, you could say like they kind of bring her back, and they do lead to stuff with the Hellfire Gala. Yes, we lead to Hellfire Gala with these issues. And, well, then we have a dance sequence where we have Rachel dancing with Betsy. We have more King stuff and really weird stuff here. And that's it. Not a lot happening here with these issues. But there is still technically, like I said, one more trade left to go for Excalibur by Tony Howard, by Tini Howard, and that's it. Yeah, one more trade left to go. Just one. And that's it for this particular series. Well, there is also Knights of X, but that's a separate. That's basically a relaunch that's out for some reason. I give this book roughly a 9 out of 10. It just feels as though that we're kind of going through the motions, and we're just slowly wrapping up this series. X-Men Red is just pure awesomeness. I love X-Men Red. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, it's actually better than the main X-Men title. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. It is strange that Mar brought back this title. It only had been gone just for, if I remember correctly, I think it got canceled. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. I think the first volume for X-Men Red was done by Tom Taylor. Yes. Let's see. The first volume for X-Men Red was concluded back in 2019. Yeah, 2019. That was an excellent book. I love that book. Not really sure exactly why it got ended after only 11 issues. And here it brought us back 3 years later with a new logo. And the book is still publishing. At the rate it's going, the most recent issue that came out was issue 10. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be like the final issue of the series. I'm not sure. But still really good stuff here when it comes to stuff. Yep. Oh yeah, by the way, the group on the Mars was the Brother of Anko, which is basically kind of a version of the the Brother of Ewings. It's kind of their ruling council of of Anko or Akiro. Yes. Yeah, that's mostly put basically what it is. Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, not much else to say about the two trades, so I'm gonna wrap up here and then I'm gonna go straight to do Uzuki Chowen's hang out, okay? Next video. Bye.